How's she going? All right, so we're back out here, and like I promised, we're gonna try and wrap this truck up tonight. So I already went ahead and plugged in the adapter harness that we got. So as you can see, this thing used to have these male and female connectors. So I plugged in this little adapter that comes up here to the wiring harness that goes all the way up to the handheld. So the handheld now is going to work based on this wiring. Now we need to go ahead and wire in this 12-pin switch. So it looks crazy, but it's not too bad. We did pass through 3 little wiring harnesses into the cab, and these are 2 of them. So these 2 have the same color wires in both, as you can see. So we're just going to wire it up as per this little diagram right here. It just tells you, you know, black and red go to this pole, whatever. So I went ahead and he's got his salter controls here, all his light bars and everything right here. So we're going to put that switch on this little bracket right beside. So everything's all in one nice little spot. And then what we'll do is just run this wiring up behind the dash. We'll zip tie it up. And that's it for inside the cab. So let's go ahead. We'll plug these wires in on this little guy and jump back under the dash where we need to hook up the headlights. We're about done with this project. So that wraps up the install for the interior of the truck. I'll take you real quick and show you where we ran the wires and how we did it, in case you're trying to do this on a Chevy of your own. All right, so looking here under the dash, we came through right here, right behind this in the firewall. We came forward and jumped across. He already has a bunch of wiring in here for the salter. So we jumped through here, and then we chased all this wiring up. And I came out just on top of this salter box here to the switch. You can see the switch right over there. And then I came out underneath it, right here on the floor, for the handheld. That way when he's not using the handheld, he can just kind of roll it and tuck it back up here under the dash, and it's out of the way. And you know, in the summertime or whatever, it will it'll be right out of the way. You won't really even know that it's in there. So that wraps up, like I said, the interior. The handheld here is already all plugged in and everything. So last thing that we need to do on this thing is the headlight wiring. And basically what we want to do, I think I already showed you, but we'll just recap. These 2 plugs here, that's your factory headlight plug. So we're going to plug the factory harness from the truck into these. And then you have these 2 wires here, this red and the pink, or the pink and the yellow, I mean, and that's going to be your turn signal and your parking lights. Now we also have these clips here, and what these ones do is kind of jump in the middle, and that gives you everything that's needed to make sure all the wiring, or all the power I should say, when you turn the headlights on the truck, go through all this, and it comes out to the plow harness because that has its own headlights on it, since these will be blocked by the plow. So we're gonna plug these guys in, we're gonna pull the headlights out, and we're gonna wrap this sucker up. So, long couple days for an install, but what are you gonna do? Let's get under the hood and yeah, get her done. So I really suck at videoing stuff, but my head just got into it and here we are. So I'm going to show you exactly what I did to hook up these headlight harnesses. Now, let's flip the page here. So what it shows you is those are those 2 big clips down on the bottom that we're going to plug into the plow. And then these are the 2 clips that are on the harness that we ran through. And now we added this piece here. So that plugs into our harness. This side here plugs into the factory headlight, and then it kind of creates a loop there. So when you have the plow on, it'll shine through the plow. When you have the plow off and those bottom plugs are plugged together, it'll loop back and put your vehicle's headlights on. So the only modification that we had to do here was right here. You have a yellow wire and a pink wire. So the pink is the turn signal, and the yellow is the parking lights, or your running lights. So what I did was I have one of these power probes. This thing is absolutely awesome. If you don't have one, you should go and buy one. You can get them on Amazon or whatever. But this thing is basically a test light on steroids. So what it is on the end here, let me spin that, there you go. It has a little pincher there, and you can pinch it onto a wire, and then it'll show you here on the screen positive or negative. And all I did was turn the turn signal on the driver's side, and I hooked this to the wire, and you'll see it go, it'll light up the negative, then the positive, and negative, and then a positive as those lights turn on and off. So I know that's the signal wire for the turn signal. I jump my yellow wire into that. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped my pink wire into that because that's for the turn. And then I did the same thing with the running light. I turned the vehicle on running lights, it shows up there positive. Turn the vehicle running lights off, it shows up there negative. Perfect, great. So that's my wire I jump into there. So that's all that I did on both sides of the truck. Got those shoved back in there, so we should be good to go. Now the only thing left on this whole project is this harness right here. This is the one that is supposed to go over to the battery. So we have these couple connections here. A couple of them go to ground, a couple of them go to positive. So we're gonna hook those up. And what they want you to do is they want you to hook them to right here, this side of the solenoid, and they want you to ground to that bracket. I'm not really sure why. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you think about it, let's follow this through. I have my power wire here. So that's got constant power from the battery all the way over to our breaker right here. So that always has constant power. Now, when I flip the breaker like it is right now, see that little red line is out this way? There's no power going from here this way. But you're not gonna pop this thing in daily operation. So if this was flicked shut, it would be sending power all the way over to our solenoid. The solenoid doesn't use anything until it hits this side. Once you click that solenoid over, you're telling it, hey, I want to use this plow. It connects those two, and the power goes through the solenoid and all the way down to the front of the plow. But they want you to connect that harness on the battery side of that solenoid, which means they always have power and they always have ground. So the harness is super, super long, and rather than trying to, yeah, like see, I can get all the way over to that battery and I still got an extra foot. So instead of trying to hook it on there where it's just kind of janky, it's going to have a whole bunch of wire all rolled up and whatever, I'm thinking I'm going to jump it all the way over to the battery, and I'm going to connect it to the positive there and the negative on the battery itself. Then we know we got good connections. We don't have to worry about anything. The only thing that I can think is that they're using one of those wires to fire off that solenoid, because right now I don't have anything hooked to the bottom, and that means that it's never going to connect power through it when you want to use it. So we'll have to look at the wiring a little bit more, but I'm hopeful that we can connect way over here to the battery. Then I don't have all this extra wire. I mean, just crazy. But anyways, let's try and sort this out and see what wires have to go where, and I'll bring you back and explain what we're gonna do. So looking at this diagram right here, it shows you the red and the black with the fuse. That's these two here with those two fuses. Those are going to go to the power side, or the positive at the battery. And the white, the green, and the black, all these guys, are all going to the negative side, or the ground of the battery. Now, I was right, and there is a wire that's going to jump over and fire that solenoid, but that thing comes out, if you can see here, I have the wire right there. It goes all the way down, and it comes out right here, this little brown guy. So what I'm going to do is, like I was thinking, I'll run it across the back of the firewall. I'll leave this brown over here. We'll hook it up to the solenoid right there. And then all these guys we're going to terminate at the battery. And that's it. We are done with this install finally. Let's get this thing plugged together. Then we're going to turn the key on, turn the headlights on, and make sure that our headlights turn on so that when the plow is off and our plugs down there are connected, it kind of makes the loop and we have lights. If not, we got to dig into stuff. And I'm really hoping that it's not the if not part, because it's late and I want to go in and go to bed. So let's get to it. And just like that, we're done. I hooked up the brown wire to that constant duty solenoid there. So what that does is when you have the key on, let's jump inside here. When you have the key on and your headlights are on, when this switch is pointed forward, that's the vehicle headlights, so it would act like there's no plow on it. When you flick this switch down, it sends the power through to the front of the plow, and now it uses the big plow lights on the front, so when you lift and lower and whatever, it doesn't block the stock units and then you can't see. So anyways, he did all that stuff, the plow side of it, while we were doing this. Since we got a bunch of snow outside, he you know, tried to cut his time in half basically. We were doing this, he's doing that. We'll put them together and we're about done. So that's as far as we're going on this project. If you're installing one of these Arctic plows or the harness, that's the way that you do it on one of these Chevys. And yeah, hopefully it was, I don't know, helpful or insightful, or hey, if you don't even have a plow and you just want to watch along, I really do appreciate that. Now, I'd like to give a shout out to Tough Duck. Got their bibs on again, and they've been keeping us super warm out here in the shop to do this project. So thank you, Tough Duck. Make sure you go to toughduck.com and get your bibs or beanies or, you know, boots or COVID masks or anything like that. They got it all. So shoot over there, toughduck.com, and check those guys out. Anyways, I know I'm a couple days late for this video. I do apologize, but like I said, it's been absolutely insane in here trying to get all this stuff done. And I only film these videos late at night. So I come out and, you know, it's kind of these projects like this that I figure I could take a little bit more time on and film and bring you guys along. Now, all that said, I'm hoping next week we can be back to our regular scheduled programming, but bear with me if not. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So yeah, get out in your shop, build something, and as always, do stuff.